Welcome, welcome, welcome to the School of Radiance podcast. I'm your host, a humble human on a mission, here to help you both look and feel your best. In today's live recording of the podcast, so we have a live audience here that's going to be asking some questions, adding some commentary, so that these are really fun for me to record with community here of the show. It's a mix of new people and also those who've done one-on-ones, been in tutorials, and also the membership. So this is kind of fun for people at different levels and layers on this, beauty and radiance question journey with some great questions that's going to come forth. So fall 2025. What are the fall skin must-knows and haves for 2025? There's also some exciting announcements. And as many of you know, I've been an aesthetic nurse since 2011 and also teach other doctors and nurses and have my finger on the pulse of the industry. And do have an exciting announcement from a specific company coming soon on some pretty revolutionary technology, which is great. And kind of like my overarching theme here on the show is I like to have a bit of a wait and see approach. This has served me very well in regards to, not recommending certain things before they've sort of stood the test of time. And we can use neuromodulators as an example. That was initially looked at in the 90s for fine lines, wrinkles, and things like that. And over recent years, we've been hearing more about exosomes and stem cells and peptides and GLPs and all of that. We're still in the early days of that, but I am excited to see what happens with that. I've done two previous part 1 and 2 episodes on my predictions and things in those spaces. And in today's show, we're going to be focusing on what fall brings that's unique in regards to skincare challenges and also opportunities for undoing some of your summer skin sins, right? We're getting into laser rejuvenation season, which is exciting. I'll be talking about that. And this episode is going to cover the essential knowledge and trends and products to help you keep your skin radiant, resilient, and healthy as the seasons shift. So welcome everyone. If you're a new listener, be sure to check out the description of this episode for ways that I can support you. And if you're a longtime listener, so happy to have you back. And of course, for our live recording audience here behind the scenes, you can join these live recordings also. Just head on over to the schoolofradiance.com, join my newsletter, and I send out the invitations that way. So seasonal changes are really important to understand and navigate and flow through because the seasonal changes do impact our skin health. And also we're going to talk about why fall is a critical transition period. As many of you know, I've been doing this work for a long time, since 2011. And each change of season, I would see kind of this uptick of skin concerns, such as skin redness, skin dryness, even things like perioral dermatitis, ways that how seasonal allergies can even impact the skin. And depending on where you are, air quality, temperature, indoor, outdoor, humidity, they all impact the skin. So each season, there are specific things to kind of tweak and modify in your skin routine. And also each season, there's different things to focus on from a rejuvenation perspective. So the fall time is a critical period. So seasonal shifts, the cooler temperatures, the lower humidity that we're experiencing in the fall, and indoor heating all impact the skin, right? Tends to be a little bit, depending on where you are, more humid. You're sweating a little bit more in the summer months. And then we move into the fall, things start to cool off a little bit. We're inside a bit more with that indoor heating. It really can dry the skin out. So it's really important to do something called maintaining your skin barrier during the fall. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be pretty simple. using a cleanser twice a day, moisturize twice a day, sunscreen every day. We're going to talk a little bit about sunscreen and exfoliation. So what I've seen is, these all help to keep the skin hydrated and glassy and help keep that redness down and actually prepare your skin before maybe doing some in-clinic laser technologies, which is great. And also we have some lifestyle changes that happen going from summer to fall. So diet, our routines, stress around the kids going back to school, you're maybe going back to work, or just things are kind of shifting. We're switching gears a little bit, less sun exposure, less of that vitamin D. These all end up showing up on the skin. Maybe at the tail end of summer, you were out and about more, you were traveling, your diet was a little different. You were maybe consuming a little bit more alcohol, you were having more social engagements. And now the fall, we tend to move into a little bit more of our typical routine with having fewer social engagements, if you will. So we can shift into more routine, which is great. And having that peace, having that routine, it is good for the skin. If you're constantly kind of go, traveling all the time, yes, you're having fun, you're experiencing new things and new neural connections, which is great. But the fall, I find, is a great way to kind of like get back into that routine. So your sleep also might start to get a little more dialed in, which is great. So what are some of the must-know trends for fall 2025? What is really interesting is the concept of bioadaptive ingredients that can help the skin adjust to environmental stressors. So from the sun, we have UVA, we have UVB. Inside from blue light, we have the blue light that can impact the skin, actually can reach deeper into the skin. We call that UVA. And then also the environmental, just a little bit more dryness inside, changing in humidity. So what we want to continue to utilize in our skincare is looking at our skincare as kind of like a multivitamin for the skin. We desire to not just make the skin feel good, but also support its function topically. That's what really good, more practitioner grade skincare is going to do, as opposed to generally what you get over the counter that can have lower levels of these skin active ingredients like antioxidants and peptides and things like that. Also, spa grade tends to be really expensive for what it is and just doesn't have enough of those active agents that help your skin manage stress, help your skin manage oxidative stress, helps your skin manage exposure to sunlight, blue light, air pollution, right? That can start to impact skin redness and acne. We see this in some of the bigger cities, right? Depending on where you live even. Are you in a smaller town, rural area, or are you in a big metropolitan area? So considering what type of environment you're in, because the air quality actually does, debris and heavy metals can land on the skin and actually can tell your keratinocyte stem cells to die earlier. So that's why things like antioxidants and peptides are really supportive at helping to reduce what's called free radicals and oxidative stress, which actually inevitably kind of damage the DNA in your skin. So we want to protect that. So that's what antioxidants do. We also want to consider technologies now that can support collagen and elastin and firming up the skin, which is this time of year is really moving into fall. So give it another month or two. October, November is really when laser skin rejuvenation season starts to ramp back up. So this is a time to really focus on stabilizing your skincare routine and making sure you're feeding it properly and allowing that tan to fade and some of those summer sins from the sunshine to kind of fade. So your regular sunscreen, your regular skincare application is some of that sun damage, that redness pigmentation will fade through looking after your skin barrier and actually preparing your skin for lasers, which is exciting. I do love lasers. The next trend I want to talk about, so let me know for the live audience, any questions or comments you have as I go through these, very typical fall trends. The next thing I want to talk about is AI-powered skin analysis tools becoming a little bit more mainstream now, especially in fall 2025 for home use. And as a provider, and I've used some of these AI tools in the past, they're not really conclusive. So you could take a picture or describe your skin conditions and put it in an algorithm, whether that's through like a separate app. But typically these AI tools or these skin quizzes are going to be actually tied to a skincare line or a product. Now, what's interesting about these AI tools is you might think, oh, I'm getting a customized skin analysis. And I've played with AI for a number of years back in probably like 2020. Back in the day when ChatGPT was first coming out, AI tools was first coming out, I was learning about AI tools from a business perspective. And then I started to engage with it like, oh, this skin thing, like what do we do if there's like skin redness and dryness? And what I find through some of these AI tools and questions I've asked it over the years is that it's not really deep enough, right? Even if I say go and write a research paper, say my last one on oxidative stress status's impacts on skin aging, and my next one is going to be on the nervous system and aging, because that's really key. We're going to talk about the nervous system later in this episode. But even when I go and attempt to like compile research or come up with like an overview, AI isn't quite there yet to go to the depth and breadth in the skin and rejuvenation, anti-aging, and longevity space. It still does have its limitations. And the other thing about AI skin analysis tools or skin quizzes is depending on what you're using and what AI tool that is a part of, like company or products, your recommendations could just be like very much pigeon-toed into what that company can offer you. So it might not be the best. And one of the things that I've loved doing over the years with doing these virtual consultations to support clients across the globe and also in person in the clinic is oftentimes I'll mix and match different product recommendations from different lines to support someone's needs. So that's why you never really seen me highlight just one brand in particular. You've always seen my recommendations, one-on-one clients, this. Those in the tutorials, you see me using lots of different lines. And of course, in the clinic, utilizing different lines too, because what I found, and again, this is why the AI-powered skin analysis tools I don't think are the best yet. I think they're going to, start to get probably better. But what experience as a provider teaches me, and having used so many lines, practitioner grade skincare lines, like 15 over the years, is some lines have certain products that are really great. I call them the superstars. And then some lines have products that aren't really great, and I call them the duds. So I like to weed out the duds and look at the costs, look at what the levels of actives are, right? Those bioactive ingredients, antioxidants, peptides, humectants, and what they feel like as well, how much of the product you have to use, packaging, all of that. I take all of that into consideration. It's difficult for an AI-powered skin analysis tool to do that, right? AI can't touch. If you ask AI, if you're on ChatGPT, if you were a human, what would you be excited to experience? And actually touch is one of those. So it does have that limitation, because when I'm, formulating products or assessing products, I like to know how it feels on the skin. How well does it glide? Does it absorb easily? What does the skin feel like afterwards? So that is part of the limitation of AI-powered skin analysis tools. AI can't feel. And then, of course, you want to know what your skin is going to feel like after you use a combination of a solid routine: cleanser, moisturizer, sunscreen, scrub. It's the basics, right? How does your skin feel afterwards? How does your skin feel a couple hours after that? And then having your makeup on, how does your skin feel at the end of the day? How's the skin feel after 2 weeks of being on something? So there's definitely some limitations there. I think it's kind of cool though with some of the AI tools for like makeup analysis. I haven't really played with that, but I do have a couple of clients who have, and I think that's kind of cool. But you can also get that done with someone who, say, does color blocking to see which colors actually work really well for your skin type and tone. So I could see, a color analysis with your skin hue be something that an AI powered tool could do. But in regards to like an actual analysis of your specific aging process, if you were to upload a photo, it's not really going to get this whole picture of you as a human, right? The skin glow, the skin radiance, the presence of fine lines, wrinkles, how big the pores are, the position of your brows and lids, your cheek volume and projection, your lip volume and projection, your side profile, your neck and jawline definition. It's not really able to capture all of that and say, here's a plan, right? It's not quite there yet. But the write-ups that they're going to give you are going to sound pretty compelling, but they're not really going to be specific enough as to, which rejuvenation options are also going to be aligned with your budget, your values, your lifestyle, your goals, and of course, downtime. So a couple of different limitations there from skincare product recommendation and also rejuvenation recommendations as well. But I am excited. What we're also seeing now in fall 2025 is this huge emphasis on clean beauty products. This is not going away. We're starting to see that. I started to see this in about 2017, 2018. Lots of clients coming to see me, both in person and online, that were kind of like, I just want to focus on my skin health and moving less away from trying to look like Kim K or the latest influencer or something like that, but really focusing on more, how can I get my skin healthier? That's not going away. This clean beauty emphasis, it's simply not going away. So also focusing on sustainable packaging and even refillable skincare lines as well. That's also becoming really interesting to see some of the trends emerging in the clean beauty emphasis. A little word of warning here. If a product is saying, oh, it's all natural, that's kind of bogus, because anything from planet Earth is natural. And all clean, and we call this greenwashing, or we even can call this like pinkwashing of these kind of very general claims like eco-friendly or green. They can be pretty misleading. So some of we call this branding. There can be really good branding on a product, but the formulation just might not deliver the results you're hoping for. It might not feel as good as you're hoping for, or there's something that could feel better. But still, that clean beauty emphasis is not going anywhere based on consumer demand of looking for cleaner products, while we still also want it to perform. So the must-have products and practices for fall 2025, let's get into it. Obviously, hydrating serums with hyaluronic acid. That's not going anywhere. Hyaluronic acid blends are great because when you have hyaluronic acid in your skincare, I have lots of products like that on the Skin Shop and can make specific suggestions in a one-on-one. I talk about it in tutorials as well. Hyaluronic acid basically helps to pull water from the air and put it on your skin, which is kind of cool. Also, we can internally support hydration of our cells all over the body. Pretty simple. Hit that 2 to 2.5 liters of water a day. For guys, you're looking at about 3. If you're sweating a lot, then you're going to want to increase that as well with exercise. But having these humectants and hydrating serums and moisturizers in your skincare are important. And the nuance here is the hyaluronic acid actually has to be of the right molecular size so it can actually get absorbed in the skin and pull that water, because there are different molecular sizes of the hyaluronic acid molecule itself. Some are really big and some are smaller. So the ones that are really big, we find don't quite work as well as the ones that are a little bit smaller, and the skin just knows what to do with them a little bit better. So hyaluronic acid, that's not going anywhere. But I do want to emphasize the internal concept of cellular hydration. And then the Organifi Glow product is a great product because it has the tremella mushroom. And of course, Organifi is the sponsor of today's show. Organifi, spelled with an i.com/Varga. Use code Varga and save. The Glow product by Organifi, it has tremella mushroom, which is actually even more hydrating than hyaluronic acid. So it helps to support that cellular hydration actually from the inside out. And when your internal landscape is on point from your cellular and metabolic health, and of course from a nutritional standpoint, you're getting all your key vitamins and minerals and nutrients, your skin is going to shine better, you're going to have more energy and vitality and all of that good stuff. So huge fan of getting that internal cellular hydration through the Organifi product called Glow that contains tremella mushrooms. And we are going to talk a little bit about adaptogens as well coming up here to help you manage especially stress during seasonal shifts, because whenever there's changes, there's just this extra layer of stuff, right? Having a peaceful, calm life is the dream. Life happens though, and stress is a sign of being alive. Sylvia says, love tremella mushrooms. Yes, they're very hydrating, actually more hydrating than hyaluronic acid. So I love to consume the Glow formula. It tastes like pink lemonade. If you have kids or grandkids, they're going to love it too. Definitely a better option than giving those little kiddos juice as well. That's what I think is also a really fun kind of mocktail drink to serve, because alcohol is actually, really there's no benefit to alcohol. So ceramide rich moisturizers for barrier repair is also really key. So again, having these humectants that are going to feed and nourish and hydrate the skin. Just be kind of weary of some of these over-the-counter drugstore products that say rich in ceramides and things like that, but then they also have buffered in there things like parabens, phthalates, sulfates, artificial dyes, and fragrances. And those are considered to be toxins. And so you're paying for putting toxins on your skin. You don't want to do that. You want to just take ownership of what you're eating and what you're doing, and limiting your oxidative stress status, because it's inflammation that inevitably is what ages us. And so there are a lot of easy to access, heavily promoted ceramide rich products talked about online, easy to get at the drugstore, lower price point, but they're oftentimes mixed with some of these lower quality, somewhat filler ingredients that, yes, can make the skin feel good, but are they going to be giving you what that mature skin is really needing? Now, I have a feeling some of these like AI generated tools are going to be pulling and suggesting recommendations that are really easy for like the general population to access easily on some of the drugstore shelves. So just kind of a little insight there. The other thing is peptide infused day and night creams. Do I think you need a separate day and night cream? I don't. I'm all about simplicity. You're likely going to follow something that's more simple, that's more streamlined, that's more designed and customized to your needs, and then shifted and evolved and updated depending on your needs, and also new products that are available, the superstars, the duds, maybe a superstar I could have recommended in the past, there's another better superstar. So that's why for those of you who are one-on-one clients of mine, booking your follow-ups regularly are super important, so I can make those suggestions. So do you need a separate day and night cream? I don't think so. However, what you can do in the evening is start to incorporate more actives, right? Like retinols, like peels, like dermal rolling, doing some more actives before going to bed, especially in the fall, starting to ramp that back up because you aren't, the next day going to be going to the pool or going to the beach, not getting as much sunshine. So we have now in the fall this opportunity to really ramp up what we're doing at home with stronger actives, with stronger antioxidants and peptides and peels, right? Both chemical and exfoliant, both chemical and mechanical exfoliants can be great. And then, of course, stimulation with dermal rolling at home is also lovely. And we're going to talk about some in-clinic stuff shortly here. So antioxidant protection is also something that's really great. Vitamin C has been around for a long time. My insights is that I'm a huge fan of carbon 60. I'm a huge fan of C60 as an antioxidant as well. And things like antioxidants and peptides are not new in practitioner grade skincare formulations, but they're kind of new in like the biohacking marketing side of things. Like, oh, this is a peptide, a botanical peptide. Peptides are not new in the skin and rejuvenation space. However, we're seeing the peptides more as like an elite biohacker type space, but it's still kind of in that research and development phase. So I'm excited to see where things go with that in the future. We're still learning more and more about peptides. But in the skincare side of things, pretty well established that certain things are going to be great on the skin with long-term research. So gentle exfoliants, really excited to talk about this. I alluded to it just before, but for the fall, the skin does tend to get a little bit drier because of the indoor heating, less humidity, and just temperature shifts. And we're not maybe outside kind of sweating as much too. And you've probably had and acquired some sins of the summer, some sun exposure, right? So this is a time to really ramp up your exfoliation. So whether that's mechanical, I have a great scrub on the Skin Shop, and then also from a chemicals perspective, and you're probably thinking, oh, chemicals are bad. Not all chemicals are bad. Okay, water is a chemical. Pretty sure water is great for us. So from a chemistry perspective, the word chemical is not inherently bad. But from a greenwashing marketing perspective, you'll see things like chemical free, but the first ingredient's water. Not accurate. It's everywhere. So, word to the wise there. So gentle exfoliation, either mechanical through like a polishing scrub, or from a chemical perspective, using things like glycolic acid, salicylic acid, or lactic acid are really great for speeding up that cell turnover for the face and also for the body. And in the summertime, our cellular turnover speeds up a little bit. And then in the colder months, it tends to slow down a bit. So that's why things like peels and reintroducing maybe retinols and other actives and exfoliants are really great to speed up that cellular turnover. And also as we age, that cell turnover starts to slow down too. Sylvia says, totally excited about peptides. Yes, we're in an exciting time here. The advancements in information, the longevity space, especially with AI now, is we're going to see, my prediction is this concept of testing instead of guessing is not new to us as biohackers with doing genetic tests like saliva tests, blood tests, stool tests to see how we can optimize our gene expression. It is becoming just like a little bit more mainstream now, and I'm starting to see this in magazines like Wired or Maclean's. They're starting to really talk about these longevity concepts like biohacking, like sleep optimization, looking at from an economy perspective, just how growing of a market this is from a nutrient, from a skin, from an IV perspective, all these things. Like this is a growing industry. The longevity and biohacking industry is not going anywhere. And we're just starting to see it become more mainstream now especially in some of these publications. So it's always interesting for me to see that. It's like some of us who've been biohacking for a long time, it's like, yeah, we already know all this stuff, but now it's becoming more mainstream. And I think we can actually attribute the Kardashians doing an interview with Brian Johnson as a huge shift in the industry, actually, which is kind of cool, right? Just getting some more exposure into the what we would consider like health optimization space. And of course, this is not medical advice. This is educational information only. If you think you have a medical condition, you must seek the guidance of a licensed physician. So, gentle exfoliation, doing some more actives in the evening to promote cell turnover that can slow down when the temperatures start to cool. So sun, okay, before the next one. Hey, Sylvia, longevity in biohacking industry seems to be exploding, which is awesome. That was her comment. Yeah, I'm super excited. And I'm speaking at an event in Vancouver called Vivacity. It's the first event of its kind, actually, in Canada, merging the space of med spa and longevity together. This is a big deal because before I'd have to go to the States and, across the globe to get basically sit in the rooms with the pioneers in this space. I'll never forget once I was at an event and I was in a room of about 20 or 30 of North America's top stem cell exosome speakers and practitioners. And I felt like I was in a room when neuromodulators like Botox, that's a brand name, first came out in the 90s. And so that's what's so kind of fun for you to be here is like I'm in these rooms with these people. I'm doing podcasts with them. Some of them are my friends and I can ring them up or write research papers with. So that's, you're kind of getting the distilled information. So yes, it is an exciting time, but things take time, right? I've always had this approach of just kind of wait and see, wait for the algorithms to be dialed in, the product itself to be dialed in, and, kind of wait and see for the long-term results. That's always served me well. That's why you won't really see me jumping on a lot of trends, because when it comes to you being here, you are trusting me to be in the industry and keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on. And I've actually found that some of the best practitioners who have been in the game a long time, so that's, aesthetic doctors, aesthetic nurses, is we do have this, okay, let's kind of wait and see. But yet on the flip side, there are also the innovators that, need to kind of see how things work out. But for your perspective, I'd much rather kind of like get that data and then report back. So that's kind of how I operate. I'm not the cowboy. I'm not the one doing the brand new things. I kind of like to give it time to let those things sort themselves out. All right, sun protection is not going anywhere. As I alluded to before, the sun and blue light are key ways for us to get that UVA, UVB damage. So sunscreen is still critical in the fall, winter months. You might be thinking, oh, I'm not really going to the beach or the pool. You're still doing 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes in the car going from here to there. You're experiencing that indoor lighting still. And what I'm alluding to is this cumulative effect of UVA, UVB sun damage on the skin. So for me, sunscreen, face, neck, chest, hands, high real estate area, daily, I've been doing that since I was about 25, is really helpful. And obviously, we all have different skin types as well, and mine's a little bit going to be more prone to accelerated aging and maybe some precancerous lesions. And actually, I think when I was about 18, I had a precancerous lesion removed on my back because I was a naughty young lady and did some of the tanning beds. Okay, so we all live and learn. None of us are perfect. Perfection doesn't exist, but diligence and precision do. The other thing I want to mention, actually, just kind of jumping back to the AI, one of my patients the other day, she said, I checked you out online and I was really impressed because Google said, with like the AI generator tool that's on the web browsers now, said that I was 47. I was like, I'm not 47, I'm late 30s. And so this is an example of when AI is sourcing information, it's like you have to check stuff, right? So the reason why, if you were to go on Google and search my name, Rachel Varga, you're going to see this blurb that says that I'm 47. And the reason it says that is because it pulled me being interviewed by a lovely man. And in the interview audio snippet, he says he's 47, right? So that's an example of, AI isn't quite there yet, but it is advancing at a really fast pace. So you still have to, fact check. Sure, there's going to be some things that AI is just better at doing than we are, especially at like rapid speed. But it's not perfect, okay? Especially telling the population that I'm 47 when I'm not. And it was so funny because my patient was saying, yeah, that's good for business. People think you're late 40s. I was like, it just goes to show you can't take everything that's AI generated as being like the Bible, essentially. But it does have its functions. Okay, so lifestyle. Yeah, I know, it is pretty funny. Just looking at the live comments here. So lifestyle must-haves. Let's get into this. I do want to encourage you to keep the humidity up in your home. So do I love to use humidifiers? No, because we want to be conscious of things like mold. You want to keep up with your air purification in your home. But what I do love to do is take a bath or a shower and get the the humidity, sweat a little bit in the bath or the shower, really great for my nasal passages and things like that. So I like getting the humidity when I'm doing my bathing. And sure, you could do some essential oil diffusers throughout your home to add a little bit of the humidity. But with things like humidifiers, you just have to really be careful that that mold isn't accumulating in the basins. You want to make sure that you clean those things out really well. And a lot of mold experts like to suggest things like hydrogen peroxide for cleaning. So keeping the humidity up in your home, it's going to be up to you. If you're feeling like things are kind of really dry, we're having some forest fire smoke here too. So I love being in the bath or the shower for getting that extra humidity and also keeping up with my hydration. The next one, skin supporting teas. I actually had some lovely hibiscus tea the other day. Supportive teas, I've always been a huge fan of things like chamomile, mint, turmeric, ginger, and also we have some lemon balm in the garden here. So there are some teas that I do actually like to make, and lemon balm is one of them. So keeping up with actually keeping your throat hydrated with warm stuff, especially when things are a little drier, I've really noticed that this week. And then, of course, nutrition. So hitting your protein goals, 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight, hitting your hydration goals, 2 to 2.5 liters, filtered purified water, structured, remineralized is ideal, 3 for the gents. Omegas are really important for maintaining the phospholipid bilayer of your skin. Omegas are really helpful for the skin. There's some research on that for acne. Getting your antioxidants in is also super helpful. So things like vitamin A and vitamin C, so foods that are rich in that. I also like to consume foods that are cleaner alternatives. So say for like a peanut butter, I'll go for a pumpkin seed butter instead. A lot of nuts actually are shown to have high levels of mold because of the way that they're stored, or the oils in those nut butters have gone rancid. So I personally really like using like a pumpkin seed butter instead as a spread with a little butter, with a little honey on some sourdough. And then root veggies. I have a lot of beets actually in my diet because of the nitric oxide component. It's a root vegetable. Root vegetables are very grounding. That's one that I'll go for, as well as things like cucumbers. Lots of people say, like, if you were to Google or AI, like, is cucumber good for the skin? It's going to say yes. It's very hydrating. It's really high in water. And then also don't forget about your fermented foods. like, for example, sauerkraut. But when it comes to lifestyle must-haves and nutrition, test instead of guess what you're eating to make sure that what you're eating is going to be helpful for you and your specific gut needs. So that's where the biome test can come in really handy. It's a couple $100 and it'll give you a really concise, these are your superfoods, these are your enjoy foods, these are your minimize, these are your flat out avoid foods. Then you can kind of retest and see what your body wants more of. That's a more specific way to get your nutritional needs met, is through testing instead of guessing. Because sometimes I'll go on AI and I'll say, hey, what's a good diet for this? And then it's going to actually show me certain foods that are really high in phytic acid and oxalates. Like, for example, it'll say leafy greens like spinach, or having oats and things like that. And we know, especially in the biohacking space and through the testing instead of guessing space, that some of these foods that AI will tell us are high in things like phytic acid and oxalates that actually can very commonly contribute to inflammation. So again, some limitations with AI, which you're probably kind of picking up here, that I have been engaging with it quite a bit and asking it specific questions. I'm like, well, actually, this is what we know about foods high in oxalates. They create these little crystal shards throughout the body and result in things like overall inflammation, or things like kidney stones and stuff like that. But there's so many nuances to how you as a bio individual are going to respond to foods. Okay. Sylvia says, pumpkin seeds are really good for you. Well, I can't say that this is going to be super good for everybody, right? But I like pumpkin seeds and walnuts and black seed oil. I like things that also serve a couple of functions to support what I need. From a lifestyle must-haves, the other thing I want to mention is making sure you're getting enough electrolytes and key minerals, right? So that your body can function. I've talked about that on the show here a bunch, but do make sure you're hitting your hydration, your protein, your antioxidants, your omegas, root veg, maybe looking at some fermented foods as well. Really helpful. And then obviously going for the cleanest options with what you can purchase. Okay, so now we're getting into this kind of next layer here with fall must-dos, must-haves. And this is where we're going to go just like a little bit deeper, okay? So we've kind of talked about like very practical things like skincare, like our lifestyle components. And now we're going to move into what I like to call integrating and embodying radiance practices. So having that mind, body, skin awareness is what's going to result in connection and embodiment. So there's different things that, especially in the membership, I talk about. Okay, it's time to pay attention to this layer of yourself. Here's some things that you can do to hone and play with and see what makes you feel better. So that mind, body, skin connection, yes, we know that these connections exist, but how do we rest more? How do we meditate? How do we care for our nervous system? Because these all show up in the skin. So let's break down rest, for example. I actually just interviewed one of the co-founders from SOMO, which is this really great eye mask here. It's going to be on the biohacking page probably by the time you listen to this. And it actually has an acupressure little like circular thing here. So you're getting slight stimulation of the vagus nerve here while you sleep. And, I really like this. So rest is important. Sleep is important. I could do a whole segment on sleep, and I have, so I'm not going to repeat myself because there has been some feedback on the podcast reviews of I repeat myself. There's a reason why I repeat myself on certain things to emphasize how important these foundations are. And rest and beauty sleep are one of those things. So you're not going to recover and rejuvenate without restorative sleep. And I know a lot of you are really struggling to get good sleep, whether you're waking up in sweats, whether it's hard for your brain to settle, whether it's just stress adding up, changes in your life, right? Perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. For the ladies, that's going on. For guys, it's like different life events and challenges and problems you need to solve and deals you need to close, right? We all have different things, but we all have things. And so the rest is so important. And so meditation and prayer and grounding practices, I know it sounds so simple, but they are absolutely imperative. So caring for the nervous system, the way that you care for your nervous system will show up in your skin. And we see this when people who are very kind of like ramped up and in this like high beta state, sympathetic dominant state, they speak a million miles a minute. Their body movements and their gestures are very kind of like jittery and not as smooth. And having this like smoothness and this tone to the tone of rather a mind, body, skin movement, embodiment of radiance connection is actually really profound in how attractive you are, how you're perceived. And once you know about these things, you can then add that layer to very kindly observe others and good things, and also maybe some things just to be aware of with that person, that the way that they show up with their skin and their presentation can actually give you information on them, which is very important. So as I mentioned before, I am writing a nervous system and skin aging paper alongside a neurosurgeon, because I think that the nervous system component, I know with me on my own journey with this mind, body, skin, nervous system connection, the embodiment connection, there's not enough information out there in the health, beauty, and longevity space on the nervous system. And the nervous system, our brain, is our master control center of our emotions, of peptides, of hormones, of different mediators, of different neurotransmitters, of our thoughts, our ability to have clear, coherent sentences, comprehend, brain fog, the way that our bodies move, the way that our muscles fire, our strength, our grip strength, all of these things are directly tied. Everything we do in our life, everything we do, from our thoughts to our movements to our decisions to our actions, are all tied to our nervous system. And you're going to make better decisions. You're going to enjoy life more the more you're in a parasympathetic rest and digest state as often as possible. It's going to show up on your face because you're going to have a more calm, pleasant, peaceful demeanor to you, as opposed to, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out, I'm going to clench my jaw, I'm focusing on something, right? Check yourself. Notice what your body's doing. This is called having an awareness of you, right? Learning to master through different strategies to overcome these kind of like autopilot things that we do through life is very much membership content. I'll just say that, and some things I do behind the scenes, but it's very important. And for me to speak to things, I need to be able to talk about research on this stuff. And there just isn't a ton on the link of nervous system care and skin aging. There's a little bit, especially with research on acupressure and stress levels. And the less stressed we are, the more relaxed our face is gonna be, right? When we're in pain or stressed out, we're gonna grimace, right? So we want to be as relaxed and happy and peaceful and comfortable as possible. So I'm encouraging you all to create this fall self-care kind of ritual and rhythm and routine for you that blends skincare and also encompassing some of these radiance practices, so that you show up and you both feel and look your best and can do what you need to do to live your purpose, right? Before I started the recording this, I asked for a read on the room. So we're going to kind of like recap some stuff here. So I asked the room, for those of you who are live, and every single one of you who joined us an hour ago when we first started recording, because I like to do kind of like some fun intros and stuff like that, a little behind the scenes talk before we hit record. I got a read on the room. And everyone who started this live call is still here, which is great. So I'm really impressed and happy, and feeling supported as well by all of you. I love this reciprocity. What I did before starting this call was just kind of get a read on, quote unquote, the collective community who's here live. And so we have Sylvia, who said, hey, they're feeling great, love fall, but can hear you. Oh, I was doing an AV check. Lucia, great, enjoying the last days of summer, connecting with family, love that. Deborah, excited about fall treatments and skin rejuvenation. Yeah, we're going to do a recap on that in just a sec. Tamara, a little overwhelmed and drained and being a caregiver for an elderly parent who just broke their hip, right? Sleep is interrupted with that. Thanks for being honest and real. Appreciate that. And Marie, feeling great. I'm surprised as I felt a little bit off all summer long. And then what I actually mentioned to right when Marie said that was right before recording this, I actually did a follow-up call with one of our members, Nikki, who's in the membership. It's kind of like the higher level behind the scenes things to help amplify and embody your radiance. And with that is also stepping into your purpose. And I'm so excited for her because she is stepping into her purpose now. She's figured out how she wants to serve and help people and what her mission is and what her purpose is. And that's so beautiful when we figure out, number one, we kind of remember who we are, and then how we can make an impact, how we can share some positivity in the world. So I'm super excited for her because she's getting into helping others in really specific, meaningful ways. So I was really proud of her. So now she's like, okay, I found my purpose, my passion, super excited to now roll this out. And in the membership, what I noticed are, two really big things that can happen in kind of the transformational container, if you will. Better relationships, because you can communicate better. You're showing up as your most beautiful version of yourself, more true to who you are. You have good boundaries about what makes you feel good, what relaxes your nervous system, what fuels your creativity. So you show up better as a partner, right? You learn about attachment styles and all these things that are part of the personal development container. And doing that personal development work is, important in you as an individual, maturing and learning skills on how to show up and communicate and also receive information and what to do with that and all of that. And also, being in that receiving state as a lady is great. Not overgiving. Okay, some of you are going to resonate with that. And then number two, excelling in the workplace, right? Being able to show up as this clear, competent version of you, not overgiving, and being able to, especially in sales or supporting big groups of people like, women in HR, for example, or in leadership positions, being able to really communicate in a higher, more clear, concise way, and also pick up on certain nonverbal cues and have an awareness of some of the nonverbal cues that you might be giving that could be perceived in certain ways. And then thirdly, which I'm so happy to see a number of members finding now, is really their purpose. So it's this, personal discovery container, and to flow through different aspects of yourself, basically all these operating systems that run in the background. So just a reminder, radiance in accordance with Ayurveda is the 10th body, and it's a reflection of how all of your other body systems are operating. So body, mind, spirit, energy, those are the first four, right? Then we have other layers to ourselves. So starting to unpack how those layers are currently presenting in yourself, ways to improve and enhance some of those layers, and then bring it all together and embody a more beautiful, higher vitality version of yourself. At the end of the day, that's more of my purpose. How we can look great, have great relationships, excel in what we do, and slow that aging, and go through life with a smile on your face, right? Even when life stuff happens, even when stuff's hard. And it's going through and understanding the different layers of yourself, and then playing with, like a true biohacker would, testing instead of guessing what works for you. Because not every personal development strategy is going to be great for everybody, just like how, kale or cucumbers or Other types of meat are not great for everybody. We're all individualistic. We all have different DNA. We also have, different paths, right? Different upbringings, different traumas, different things that we've all experienced that make us beautiful and unique. So I'm so glad that Marie, after I said, she's felt off all summer long, I mentioned that, it's probably related to you finding your purpose. And then boom, right there, she said, yes, purpose is a big topic for me. It takes time. And the more you take time to sit with yourself and do this personal care stuff, reduce inflammation and oxidative stress in your environment, what's going to happen is you're going to become more clear and concise. And you're going to feel more like yourself again. You're going to have more calmness so that when something happens, you can be decisive and make a decision. And obviously working out of integrity is super important too, and having great relationships and having fun along the way is all part of that. So yes, the embodiment piece of radiance is it's not teaching you how to become this very calm, pleasant, meek, peaceful woman. No, when you embody radiance, you become a strong queen. You're better at ruling the kingdom. And same for the gents too. It actually, a lot of these things do apply to the men as well, of some of the radiance topics, but they're pretty deep topics that I don't always get into here on the show because not everybody's ready for it. So if you're like, oh, that's interesting, send me an email, info@rachelvarga.ca, and I'll see if that's on your path. Okay, so thanks, Sylvia. Got a heart for Marie. Thanks for your vulnerability of just this summer, you felt like a little bit lost, right? Missing your grounding. And sure, it's about your purpose. Yeah, really key. I just find that the happiest people who I've engaged with, the most radiant people I engage with, they're really clear on their purpose and how they give back and how they show up, and they don't overgive as well. That's a key one, not overgiven. Okay. So anyways, integrating radiance practices, as I was saying, that mind, body, skin connection, encouraging your updated fall self-care routines that blends skincare with radiant living, radiant practices to help you show up, right? Looking pretty and beautiful is not just what you do, put on your skin. You could have all the money in the world and get everything from injectables to lasers to facelifts to body lifts, all these things, dye your hair, get all these extensions, have great professional makeup done. Someone could look, ideal to the ideal facial ratios, beauty standards with doing all these shifts. But if there isn't that light coming from the eyes, that warmth coming from the smile, that softness and cadence in the way that you're speaking is showing up and really being present and connecting. Presence is love. If there's things that are getting in the way of that, right? Things that you probably have to work through as being human, but you do all the superficial work, you look a certain way to beauty standards. But if that light isn't there, if that shine isn't there, if that kindness isn't there, if that warmth isn't there, if that integrity isn't there, if there's too much chaos, you're fragmented, you're not dialed in. It's actually the dialing in that allows you to be present. And it's the dialing in of a lot of different systems. Again, in that personal development sphere, interpersonal relationship sphere, the self-mastery, the noticing that you do this when that happens, or, this is how you feel when you do this, having an awareness, not just living on autopilot. Sylvia, I totally agree. A lot of global stress this summer. Yeah. The other thing that's super interesting is watching the Schumann resonance. There's actually an app that I'll look at. So say, for example, I'll be out and I hear a lot of people saying oh, I was kind of sick or this. I'm like, I wonder what the Schumann's doing. Because the sun actually can emit solar energy. I mean, yeah, this is how our planet exists, is from sunlight. But sometimes there's more of it, and it can, I don't think it's a stretch that when there is more of these photons, these packets of light that impact the earth, that have the ability to actually interfere with telecommunications and navigation, who's to say that doesn't impact our bodies? Because our bodies are driven on these ionic exchanges, right? And photons are basically packets of light and energy. So we're all energy, right? Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's merely transformed. So, there's some stuff to that too. But yeah, the global stress, the whole time humans have been around, guess what? There's always been wars and famines and turbulence and things like that. And then there's also been the flip side of peace and love and joy, right? We live in a world of duality. These two things have to exist: the dark, the light, the left, the right. So perhaps that can bring you some peace, right? Sure, there's stuff happening and the collective can kind of pick up on it, and that can ramp up the nervous system. Just find things that ground you and bring you peace and are positive and constructive for you to focus on, like you becoming the best version of you. So when you walk into a room, the right people notice you, and when you walk in a room, the people that maybe aren't best for you to engage with, you kind of just like effortlessly repel them. Radiance is kind of like being a magnet in the best way possible. It's actually kind of funny when you see it work. All right. Thanks, Sylvia. Love light and laughter coming from your eyes when you connect with others. Yeah, it's great when you really have those genuine connections with others, and you're going to have better connections. Like the more clear and pure that you are, the less oxidative stress and inflammation you have. Like you'll be feeling less pain. You'll be more present, right? When you feel better. So feel better to, have more fun in life. We need this contrast in life, the contrast of like the hard times, right? And then the contrast of the great times and the joyful times and things like that. It makes you appreciate those beautiful moments even more. Yes, so encouraging you all to create a fall self-care, a routine, right? A good routine for you. Maybe you fall off the routine bandwagon like your dermal rolling because you've been traveling a little bit more. Get back into your sleep routine, your nutrition routine, your fitness routine, your hobby routine, seeing those friends and family members that are really good relationships for you to continue with. Yeah, and laugh a lot. Laugh is great for your abs, by the way. I remember I was going through a super tough time. This is a number of years ago. And I'll never forget, I was with one of my girlfriends and we were laughing hysterically and had lots of things that were just like funny that we were experiencing. And her and I both were going through a hard time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been laughing more. Look at these abs. Well, it was funny. It's funny. Smile lines, I like smile lines. I think smile lines can add character. And it's the frown lines. It's the hard times lines. It's you gotta focus and, not pay attention to what your body's doing. And you're focusing like that. Cutting hair, writing something, or reading something, or mirroring even someone you're talking to that's really expressive and like dynamic when they're talking. You will probably start to mirror them. So actually the more you show up as like this like more calm, grounded, cool, collected version of you, based on like mirror neurons, other people are going to kind of respond in a similar way to you too. It's kind of funny. Smile lines are beautiful. Yes, I do like my smile lines. I got cute little dimples here. My Nana actually had a lot of smile lines too. So I'm starting to see my Nana in me. AI thinks I'm 47. Not quite there yet. It's all good. All right. So what I'd like for you all to do is just kind of like consider some of the key takeaways. With the fall, we're moving back into rhythms, routines. We're inside a little bit more. Get your sleep on point. Get your nutrition on point. Update your skincare routines to address increasing exfoliation, adding more actives like peels and retinols, dermal rolling, and of course, preparing the skin for the upcoming laser skin rejuvenation season to undo the sins of the summer. But first addressing that with some topical skincare, dialing your routine again is really, really key. And so what I'd like for you to all to do is kind of like review your current skincare practices and maybe make some updates with some of these fall suggestions that I've made, with adding more exfoliation, adding more retinols, adding maybe some more like overnight peels. I have a couple of peel options that I highlight in tutorials that you can actually do at home, which is great. Adding back in the dermal rolling, prepping your skin, doing the heavy lifting first, because in another month or two, then we can start to move into laser skin rejuvenation season, with then the eyes on the prize of the holidays season. The holiday season is a particularly busy month in medical aesthetics practices. And actually what you do now in the fall, you're going to have the payoff of how you look with all of those, again, family gatherings and holiday parties around Christmas, around New Year's, stuff like that, your work holiday parties, family holiday parties, all sorts of fun stuff coming up. So take inventory of your current skincare routine and maybe update with some of these different actives to add in, and getting clear on what you want to do and focus on in the laser skin rejuvenation months. Do you want to focus on reds? Do you want to focus on the sunspots, so age spots, fine lines, wrinkles, pore size, thickening the skin, more collagen, elastin, maybe even some surgery, right? So consider what needs to be reviewed. And of course, for tuning these components, I'm also here to help. Okay, I'm here to help in the form of a one-on-one session, joining my fall tutorials, very exciting place to be, where I actually teach you exactly how to use your products, saving you time and money, helping you master the basic to advanced layers, from your skincare, gua sha, lymphatic drainage, obviously makeup, hair growth, hairstyling, pre-post recovery tips, retinols, peels, dermal rolling, and of course biohacking, all relative to the specific season that we're in, because there's always some things to do. That's tutorials, and then of course a membership for some deeper guidance. So radiance is seasonal, right? Cyclical. We're cyclical beings. And all this information is available to you, right? This is what I'm here to do. So the podcast here is really great, kind of free stuff, keep you on point, give you some updates. I get a read on the community, what some of the questions are, what some of the trends are. We can talk to that. And then of course, the one-on-ones, tutorials, and membership is like a very typical flow. If you're looking for something free to help you out now, download my skincare checklist over at skincarechecklist.com. I just updated that. It's really great for product recommendations and different things that you might be feeling with your skin. So that's skincarechecklist.com, totally free. And then also another free thing is the schoolofradiance.com. Click on the freebies section, and there's a free 30-minute biohacking for the skin video. That's a really fun one, kind of breaking down like, oh, what does this do for the skin, based on my paper I wrote on oxidative stress status and its impacts on skin aging. I know that sounds very technical, but that 30-minute video is free and available to you to get started now. All right. So yes, smile lines are beautiful. We all need more laughter, and great time to make more time for our self-care. This is pretty common for me to see, like the fall winter months, as I know for me personally, just like a little aside here, I love to go within in the fall winter months a little bit more. And then in the spring, summer, it's kind of like that flower that blossoms, right? And then because I mentioned we're cyclical, we're inside a little bit more. There's a little bit more downtime. We can read stuff. We can learn new things. We can learn more about ourselves and how we can best operate, and obviously show up all the time. However, the spring and summer is kind of like that time to flourish. We're out and about in the world, in the wild, a little bit more. So I've actually always found that I like to go within a little bit more in the fall, winter months. And then, the spring is like birth of new life kind of thing. A super exciting time. So I like to roll with the seasons, right? So for fall, we want to focus on undoing some of the summer sun and looking to the future of, what we can do from a rejuvenation perspective. So if you'd like that one-on-one guidance, no matter where you are in the world. Book a one-on-one, use promo code podcast15. Definitely join fall tutorials. I've just opened up fall tutorials, and I'm actually doing a Labor Day promo. So I wanted to announce that Labor Day sale promotion for all of you here in this exclusive community here on the podcast. Use promo code Labor Day 20 for 20% off of your one-on-one session with me, actually. That's going to apply to the one-on-ones. Check out the description in this episode to book a one-on-one. And also, Labor Day 20 will get you an additional savings on top of right now early bird savings at theschoolofradiance.com and the fall tutorials. So theschoolofradiance.com/fall. Use promo code Labor Day 20 for 20% off, as well as early bird savings, because I want you to get in there right now. Start to do this stuff right now. We're going to be live soon. You can get access to some of the previous lessons in the fall tutorials, and then the new ones are all going to be live. So tune in live, ask your questions in the tutorials. I can't do like in a one-on-one or podcast, complete get ready with me show, more nuanced dermal rolling stuff. Otherwise, I'd be washing my face and doing my skincare and makeup and rolling multiple times a day. I can't do that. So I teach it in tutorials. I'm not doing that stuff on YouTube. Sorry, not sorry. This is more high-level stuff. So definitely join. Tutorials are super fun. Kelly says, oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. So Sylvia, I'd love to hear more about gua sha. Yeah, facial lymphatic drainage, really important. That's lesson 1 in tutorials. To just get that like facial puffiness. The lymphatic drainage blockage is a thing. We see it in the face. So it's easy to do with the way that I teach it, and just do it with your skincare routine. You don't need any extra tools. Your fingertips actually work great. Oh, thank you. Comment here. Your skin is looking awesome. Eyes are very clear and bright. You look totally dialed. Oh, thank you. It's a full-time job staying dialed in. I kid you not. You know how hard, not how hard, but how much energy it's taken me to get muscle back on and to hit those protein quotas, 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight a day. Do it. You'll see. You'll see. It's like, oh my gosh, have I hit my protein quotas? Like, we need to do this. Muscle is the longevity organ. So being dialed in is like you're being dialed in. And then over time, you really start to feel and embody the difference. So what I'm doing now is I'm investing in my future version, right? I got to walk the walk. I got to talk the talk. And yes, it is about being totally dialed in as much as humanly possible all the time, and not letting setbacks and things get you down, right? Like world events, like tariffs, like all sorts of other stuff that's happening behind the scenes, but really maintaining control over what you can in your life, which is your self-care and staying dialed in. And then once you see those results, it all comes back around. You're like, oh gosh, I'm so glad I remained consistent with my skincare, with my rejuvenation plan, with nutrition, and, moving that beautiful body of yours. Kelly, hello. Love your natural hair look. You look so pretty. Thank you. Well, I mean, let's be honest here. I wanted to wash my hair. I had a great podcast earlier today, and I ran out of time to blow dry it. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to rock this curly hair. There you go. What you see is what you get. This is my curly hair. It's kind of cute, isn't it? Right? Especially when I got the fresh blonde going on. Oh gosh, those of you blonde ladies out there, when you got that fresh blonde, you feel like you're on top of the world. Also, like when you get your fresh neuromodulator, you've just had laser for like reds and browns and things like that. It's really funny. You'll notice I don't make specific recommendations here on the show, because all of you listening are of a different skin type. So book your one-on-one online. I'll get into more detail on that. And if you're local in the sunny Sydney, BC area, come see me at the clinic. I love my clinic days so much. And yeah, a lot of you also, come and fly and see me or take the ferry. There's about 5 minutes from the ferry or airport, which is great. Funny thing is when I go and do consults and actually look at what different surgeries cost in the States, like eyelid surgery, the cost in certain metropolitan areas for things are like, what? Why is that 10 times more than it needs to be, right? So that's sometimes why having like a one-on-one with me is really helpful so that I can save you time and money. So pretty good idea of what things should cost, Like I'll see this sometimes, like $30,000 for eyelid surgery. Like what? Doesn't need to be that much. Are you kidding me? Anyways, so buyer beware. So I'm just, over here helping you save time and money. Love it. That's why I sleep good at night. Okay, totally love your hair curly. We'll want to know how you did it. How did I do it? Well, I washed it and then I put some avocado oil in it. And then I just kind of like did this and put a little clip in the back. But I mean, let's be honest here. When I washed it, I used some specific products. I used a root cleansing shampoo. I used a purple shampoo. I did a hair mask. And of course, did my whole skincare routine, cleanser, did my scrub, I shaved my legs, all that good stuff. And then put my skincare products on, then put the hair oil in, massage the scalp, hair growth stimulating product too. So yeah, there's like, okay, took a shower and washed my hair, right? A little bit more than that. And actually in tutorials, I'm being funny, but in tutorials, I actually have a hair growth stimulating lesson and a hair tutorial too. So in the tutorials, I do lots of different looks, like makeup looks and then hair looks. So I'll do overnight heatless hair curl, braid, updo, curly hair, give you a little variety, right? Okay. Getting into some questions here because they're coming in. Okay. You're all of you, we're at an hour and a half in, who joined, are still here. We haven't had one drop off. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love you all so much. Use the description in this episode to, if you're a current client, book a follow-up with me. And if you're new, book a 15-minute meet and greet, personalized radiance consult. And there's lots of different layers, right? This is the free stuff here on the show. One-on-one, custom cake recipe, tutorials, how to put the icing on the cake, how to use your products, save you time and money. Membership, the cherry on top, how to actually present as a radiant way, as a radiant, lovely lady and gentleman too. Hubbies and partners join the course too, which is kind of fun. So those are like the main three categories on how I can serve and support you. Question from Kelly. What do you think about the cold facial rollers kept in the freezer? I don't do it. I had a facial once in San Diego and they did it. I was like, oh, this feels kind of cool. That's the extent. Like, would I want to take 5-10 minutes? Like, to be in my bathroom, go to the freezer, get these like frozen glass things. And number one, I'll be paranoid about dropping with cold liquid in them, rub it all over my face when I can accomplish something very similar when I'm doing my skincare, putting my products on and doing facial lymphatic drainage at the same time and assessing my lymph nodes at the same time and putting products on and makeup on at the same time. I'll do that instead. I'm glad you asked that. Lucia looks beautiful. Thank you. I think you're referring to my hair. Just like, sometimes it's a very curly. It's very, very curly. It's super fun to blow dry. Okay, Sylvia, good to know. So happy you stay on top of all of it. Yeah, it's a full-time job. Staying on top of the industry. It's an ever-evolving industry, everybody. It really is the anti-aging, the longevity, the med spa space. I'm fortunate because I teach for companies, so I get that insider edge too. And then I also publish papers. So I'm looking at the information, dipping in, going down the rabbit hole, coming back out, reporting back. Not everybody can do that. A lot of people get lost in this sea of information. And then they kind of go down this like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be the biohacker on the soapbox to everybody I know. Don't do that. preserve your energy. This is a personal journey, right? People will simply see you shining brighter. They're going to want more of that. Then they'll start asking you, what are you doing? Right? Then they'll, drip in one thing. Okay. But staying on top of it, yeah, full-time job. But that's why you're here, right? That's why you're here. Okay, Lucia, I wish I'm in Arizona. Are you planning another retreat in Sedona soon? Well, I've actually never done a retreat, but I do speak at events, and I am speaking at the Vivacity event in Vancouver on September 20th at 12 noon. That's my speaker slot. Super excited. It's going to be this bring it all home topic, which is why I did that part 1 and 2 on peptides and GLPs and trends, to kind of like hone my talk. And I actually have to finish that presentation PowerPoint slide right now. A little fun behind the scenes. So that's an event that I'm going to be at, and I would love to meet you. Doing a retreat, I don't think that's in the cards for me. That's a lot of work. But to get more access and touch points with me, that's going to be through your one-on-one. That's going to be through joining fall tutorials. That's going to be through the Radiance membership. Okay. And just a reminder, Labor Day 20 gets you 20% off a one-on-one, and also 20% off on top of early bird savings for fall tutorials. So if you've been on the fence, you're like, I've been thinking about doing this one-on-one, thinking about joining tutorials, now's the time. And save. And I'm going to be actually ending that promotion in 48 hours. So depending on when you're listening to this, if it doesn't work anymore, it's because it's ended. So definitely use that. That's Labor Day 20. Okay. Yes, Leah, you're in Arizona. I love Arizona. It's so beautiful. Gosh, all of you are still on here. I love it. I have to admit, I got some of the cold rollers and always think they might get dropped. Right? That was kind of like my joking, kind of funny off the cuff commentary. It's like, okay, just in my skincare, my towel and my robe. I got to go from my bathroom to the freezer to get these like glass liquid orbs, go back to the bathroom, do the thing, right? Put them down, or just put them back in the freezer. That's inefficient, right? To be dialed in, you got to be inefficient. Is what you're doing a good use of your time? Is what you're doing wasting time and money? Stop it. Don't waste time and money. That's why I'm here to help you. Not waste time and money. So yeah, need it simpler. Yeah, you don't need that. Just use your fingertips. Okay. Speaking of that, that's my goodbye, everybody. I think it's time to wrap this up. I got a presentation to create on peptides, GLPs, and rejuvenation, like a bring it all home. How does all this stuff that we have available to us these days, how do we actually do it? That's what this presentation is. It's like a bring it all home presentation. Those are the types of talks that apparently I'm pretty good at. That's why God has to do it. Yeah. Kelly, good luck on your presentation. Thanks. Well, thanks for showing up here, all of you. This is essentially a presentation as well. I'm just not on stage with a fancy microphone and fabulous outfit. And I don't know, maybe I'll wear heels. Maybe I won't wear heels. Maybe I'll do an updo. Maybe I'll do a side braid. Regardless, when you're on stage, you gotta look extra cute. I don't think I'll do my hair like this. I'll curly. We'll see. Thanks, Rachel. Awesome as always. Sure that you'll be the highlight of the event. We're all the highlights, okay? All of us at this event are contributing in some way or another. I just got to sit back and listen and see what everybody's saying, and then kind of like distill it all down, knowing that, I have a plan of what I think is going to be good to talk about, of my predictions, but like how to weave what everyone's saying. It's going to be kind of fun and really exciting. Thank you for all your knowledge. You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel, for everything. Good luck on your talk at the event. Yeah, well, thanks everybody for being here. Love you all so much. Okay. Love you all so much. This is the place to be, the School of Radiance podcast, to help you both look and feel your best. So remember, your radiance, how you show up. We're seasonal, cyclical beings. Looking and feeling your best is always available to you. It is a choice. Perfection doesn't exist, but being dialed in, diligent, and precise does. Okay. So the School of Radiance podcast is the place to be for all things looking and feeling your best. And of course, I get to, play around with doing all this stuff too behind the scenes. And it's a full-time job trying things out and this, that, and the other thing, investigating, considering, and then reporting back to you. So I'm sure that you loved this episode. Be sure to leave a review, share this episode with a friend or a family member. Again, the anti-aging, longevity, biohacking industry, it's rapidly evolving. There's been a massive announcement today on a new form of game-changing laser technology. So stay tuned because I'm going to be interviewing one of the head honchos, Godfather, from one of these companies. So that's why you're here, to get the straight goods from leading experts. And then, of course, my take as an industry insider, giving you kind of like the report back. Here's my angle. Here's my view on things. That's why you're here. That's what I've read in some of the podcast reviews, is you like my angle. You like hearing my perspective and kind of like my thought process of how I discern on different trends. What's the tried and true stuff? What's the stuff that we can just, not bother paying attention to yet? However, might become a little bit better and dialed in the future. So long story short, don't do trends. Don't be trendy. That sounds boring. Don't be trendy though, right? Like even trendy hairstyles, trendy outfits, trendy makeup. We all know like that 80s look, the 90s look, the 70s look, like when trends are like overdone. Classic, calm, peaceful. All of that's never going to go out of style. Be you. Be radiant. Be kind. Be bright. Be a good person. Live your purpose. Make a beautiful, positive impact. Care for yourself. Lead by example. Just do those things. You'll be fine. Classic quality at its finest. Yes, classic, refined, demure. Right? Healthy. Healthy is never going to go out of style. Looking and feeling healthy, even when stuff happens, even when, feeling this way, or I didn't have a good sleep, or, oh, my hormones are doing this right now, or, oh my gosh, this came up, this small fire, I have to put it out, or, oh, wow, that's coming up in the future, or this happened to that person, and that happened to that other person. Like, calm down, breathe, rest, do your self-care practices, stay dialed in, and keep your eyes on the prize of why you are here, and focus on being the best version of yourself. And other people are going to notice, and they're going to ask why. And you could say, I listened to the School of Radiance podcast. Okay? More of us hanging out here is a good thing. Love you all so much, and I'll see you again very soon, right here on the School of Radiance podcast. Bye.